Hello foam fighters, I'm DrFlux, and in today's video we're looking at the new Nerf Fortnite infantry rifle, or the IR. Now I took this blaster a step further and actually painted it and modded it because I'm actually a big fan of how it looks, minus the absurd barrel that was on there, but now I think it's a little better. Very cool blaster. I'm gonna basically pull it out of the package. We're gonna take a look at some of its stock chronograph numbers and then do just a full mod guide on it. So let's jump right into the video. It sure does seem like we're getting quite a bit of Fortnite blasters lately. I've always had kind of mixed feelings about the Fortnite blaster because I myself am a old school Rust player, and many of my friends and people kind of migrated off to go play Fortnite, and so I then stopped playing Rust and never really followed them over to Fortnite and never was really just a fan of the game. So I don't have a lot of background with Fortnite. And when I see the blasters that come out, I think, okay, well, those are kind of cool, but they usually get a little bit ridiculous in their designs, and they don't, obviously, I know they're kind of fake and they're toys and they're trying to look cartoonish, which is cool, but some of the design choices they use in these blasters are a little bit too much for me. But this one I was okay with for the most part. There's a few design choices with this blaster that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. One being this angle here, not too fond of, but it is comfortable. I would say it has a very comfortable feel to hold it like that. A little bit chunky, but I like it. The other thing was this ridiculous muzzle brake, and I knew that just had to go. The design of this barrel is a little bit off, but once I took that big ridiculous thing off of it, I don't think it looks too bad, especially because these two pieces here, the barrels, are actual like straight barrels and they're not like kind of off to the side and stuff, so I can deal with that. But other than that, this blaster actually looks really nice, and so that's why I decided, hey, this thing needed a paint job and just a basic wire job. And I also wanted to check out the crush and everything on the inside with the stock flywheels, see if it could take a strife cage, but unfortunately it could not. So too bad, but I'm sure there could be some files in the future that could be tweaked to actually get a decent cage in this thing. I did end up just going with some out-of-darts flywheels that I had, and I threw just some Valkyries in there. So nothing crazy, but it can handle 3S. And 3S really screams. So before we get started in this mod guide, I'm going to go ahead and just show the stock chronograph numbers. Now these numbers were very similar to just your standard, maybe a strife, because it only takes 4 AA's. So nothing too ridiculous. Now, I'm also going to play the chronograph numbers for after I've upgraded it to a 3S. And mind you, there was no real crush going on in here. This is just the standard cage. I did notice that the out-of-darts flywheels had a little bit wider space on them, so I'm assuming it had a little bit more crush, so that's a good thing. But here's basically the performance of that. I did notice when I did some when I just left the rev trigger on for a second and then fired, I was actually getting like 110 FPS, which was very nice. So I did get some low numbers here and there. That could just because of the maybe too much slipping going on with the dart because there's not enough crush in there. But yeah, I mean, I'm very happy with a stock cage of the performance of this, so pretty cool. Now I just want to note, this thing, I was able to do this build in about 5 hours, so it wasn't really a huge time intensive build. In fact, I'm going to be honest, one of the hardest parts of this mod was getting the Fortnite logo off of it. I mean, I still got some dings in here. Kind of looks like it's just some banged up metal. I might actually throw some metallic kind of scuffs on there so it looks like the blaster's been dinged up. But this side I actually dug in a little bit too far. I tried filling it with some filler, but I got to the point where I was like, you know what, I'm done sanding on this thing. I did a method of using a belt sander, and then I went over and just used a file for a good amount of time and then finished it up with sandpaper. I'm pretty happy though to get rid of that because it was just a little bit too ridiculous looking. I thought about getting rid of the Nerf logos, but I figure I'd just leave them on there. Have kind of an army aesthetic going on here. I was going to put a big, you know, white star, but I figured the green with the white text really popped it out, and I like how it looks. I think it turned out good. Let's go ahead and first just get this thing out of its package. Now, after getting this out of the package, I pretty much just discarded the Elite darts. I'm pretty much done with Elite darts. I might use them in the future for just shotgun slugs because of their weird trajectories, but yeah, I'm just really tired of shooting Elites. So chuck those to the side, and I just been doing all my chronographs and everything with just standard waffles. So that's a Dart Zone waffle or Venture Force. So then we just go ahead and butterfly open the blaster and check out what's going on the inside. Now that we have the shell off, and before we continue with further teardown, let's take a look at what we have inside here. Now, as you can see, we have a mechanical lock that basically locks the entire system unless the magazine is inserted. And then, of course, you have to pull the rev trigger to fire the blaster. So we'll pull out this mechanical lock. Also, there is a mechanical lock here that you cannot pull the trigger until the rev trigger is pulled. I will be leaving that in place though. We also have an electronic lock up here, which is engaged when you open or close the jam door, which stops the system from operating when the jam door is open. So these are just safeties that we are going to pull out. I'm also going to be upgrading these motors, and hopefully, from a quick glance, this geometry almost looks like a strife. So we're going to try some strife cages in there, and hopefully we will be doing a motor upgrade and hopefully get a higher crush cage. As we can see up here, we have the battery tray is located in the front of the blaster. I'm not too big of a fan of that because we do have a little bit of weight displacement when we have the batteries up front, but because of the overall shape of this blaster, I understand why they put it there. So let's continue doing teardown. I will be painting this, so we'll be breaking this down into its basic components, and looks like they have not really done much solvent welding, which is really nice. This is just a clip that we can just pop that off. So easy painting. So let's continue. Okay, so been doing some painting. As you can see, got the buttstock done, or the stock attachment point is done. I'm working on the barrel. So I decided to take that off and cut it because I didn't like that big flare that it had on there. So I just cut it right here, and I found a old, I believe this is from a Busby or something, but I just cut it to where it would fit this. I also found an old barrel, so I pretty much friction fit it into there. I had to sand a bit and just kind of fit it, and then I ended up cutting it flush right at the edge of the barrel. And all I'm going to do here is just throw some CA glue on there, and this will sit back in its place, which is there. And then that will go on there, and then it will just all be together. Then of course this piece goes back there. So when working on this, keep in mind this is solvent welded. The barrel is actually solvent welded in there. And then also there's a little tiny spring looking button that helps with it to lock into place. So be careful of that. But I'm just gonna go ahead and throw this together and continue. After getting all our parts back and painted up and everything, it was time to start reassembling the blaster. And keep in mind, the wiring I'm doing here is just a standard strife build. So the main thing to take away is basically how I was able to set up the rev trigger and kind of how I was able to position that. That's the one part that kind of changes in a lot of these blasters. Yes, it is a strife wiring, but it is a little weird to get into different handles and grips and try to position that rev switch. So that's the main takeaway from this. Now, after everything was buttoned all up, it was time to just kind of do a little detail work. Just kind of went back through and just kind of hit a little paint here and there on any kind of dings or scuffs or whatnot. Some of that stuff I kind of leave on because it kind of gives it kind of a sense that it's been used. I'm not really going to weather this. I'll kind of let time weather this. And what I've noticed is when I first build a blaster, I don't like to have it super weathered because it's kind of brand new. I want to get some wars through this thing and kind of have it get chucked around in a blaster bin and start to tell stories on how it looks. So that's just me personally. So I kind of make these things a little bit pristine when I first paint them up, and that's why. Well, I'm DrFlux. I want to thank you for watching this video. Please let me know in the comment section if you like this mod guide. Is this something you're looking to do? If so, I'd love to hear about it. I want to thank you again for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, happy foam flinging.